So basically, shifting baseline is the notion that when something changes over several generations, say any generation perceive the change only that occurs only during their lifetime, their own. In other words, young people, they become self-aware, they become aware of the world around them, and that becomes the baseline for that they will use in the course of their life to monitor, to evaluate change. But and they will complain, and maybe they will fight to maintain what they had when they were young. But they do not do the same. They don't have the same relationship to change that happened to their parents or their grandparents, because these changes are not subjectively perceived. They are not real. And so every generation resets the baseline that it used to evaluate the world. And so it shifts that baseline. And so you can have a situation where in one film that is kind of amusing, there is a young man who says, well, we caught this big fish and it shows something that is about 1 meter. And this the same on the same dock in the same an old guy is talking about the same fish, or they were talking about 2 meters. He's talking about swordfish, and swordfish of 1 meter are small, they are juvenile, and to that young man this were big fish, because he didn't know that swordfish get to be 4 meters tall. Long. There is a thing that is that I also use a shifting baseline for teaching purpose, and the kids, and the example with the windshield. Actually, I do remember the windshield of cars being covered with dead bugs, and this is an amazing thing, and this is particularly scary with global warming, because people get used to this normal. And this is terrifying if you think about it, because every generation has used another standard, and young people will not want to get back to the cold winters that we had when we were young. The only way we can deal with it scientifically is by identifying periods for which we have lots of data, so that we can construct a world that is credible, that has various dimensions, and use this as an anchor point to assess change. The climatologists do that. The oceanographers do that. They choose different periods because it depends on the data that they have, right? You cannot use a period going back. For example, I know journalist George Monbiot of Great Britain. He has a wife who is a paleontologist, and they talk about elephants and rhinoceros in Britain, and they talk about that would be nice to reintroduce them. That was not gonna. It's never gonna work. For the kind of work that you work on, you have to have a solid baseline. And in fisheries, a solid baseline, stupid, because it could be earlier, but it is 1950. Why? Because 1950 is the time where industrial fishing had not restarted from World War II, and where lots of countries became independent. This before they became independent. So you have the pre-neocolonial situation, and also this is the first year from which the United Nations published annual review of the world catch. So for our work, it's crucial to use 1950 as a baseline, but people who do so-called stock assessment for managing fisheries, they use the last 20 years, and that's a big problem, because the last 20 or 30 years is a period where the big stocks have all been wiped out. And then you have the testimony of young people being utterly ridiculous. You would see them, young fishers, they would say, I've never seen so many. They have the stocks has doubled in size. Yeah, it moved from 2% of what it was before to 4%.